We've got e4 on the board by Julio Suarez in round 8 of the Madrid Closed Chess Festival. In response, we get pawn to c ships, one of our favourite moves on the board, played by Levy Rozman, aka Gotham Chess, and he's vying for a Grandmaster title. Because these two guys playing, they're both international men of mystery, or international masters rather. They're close to GMs, but not quite. Levy's got to draw or win to stay in the hunt for that GM norm. Can he do it? We get d4 taking the centre and d5 played. This is the Caro-Kann, advanced variation, or Caro-Kann to some, but not Levy. He's done a whole course on it, gets his bishop outside the pawn chain, now sets up the old party hat, not his first rodeo, and knight to b3. Hang on a minute, Julio. Don't you know you're not supposed to move the same piece twice in the opening? But he has a cunning plan. Levy goes a6 because he loves having pawns on light squares, but in all seriousness takes control of b5, prepares c5. Now we see knight f3 and c5 played. Hang on a minute, isn't that impossible? Because white can capture twice, which is played. Has Levy forgot? Bishop 3, pawn 1? No, he lands a sneaky check. This is his point. He picks up the knight, but white has the bishop pair. What can Julio do with those clergymen? We get knight d4. What a centralizing move. Does Levy move the bishop? Well, no. He goes knight e7, says, fine, take my sniper, do your worst, I'm going to get my bits out. Good policy in the opening, but bishop e2 played. The knight left in the centre, an imposing piece, instead just going for quick development here with the white pieces. Queen c7 now played, pressuring the centre, f4 covers. Bishop e4, taking advantage of the weakness of the last move. What a bishop. Now we see castles and knight b to c6, completing the development, and bishop e3. What could be more natural? And look at that for a triple stack in the centre of the board. Burger King would be proud. Now we see castles, and there's a great move here for white, really positionally rooted. It's knight b3, with the idea that now if f6, classic undermining move, you can go knight c5, hitting here. It's uncomfortable, really nice chess, but not played. Bishop f2, not understanding Levy's idea because now he takes. Great move. Queen recaptures, and f6 is possible because you don't have a knight looming over the pawn structure, hitting e6. Julio goes with the bishop, but it's not as strong. f5 played, setting up our beloved camel toe pawn structure, kicking back this bishop. Now we see knight c6, bye queenie. It moves forward into the attack here, but more great chess from Gotham Chess. He's not swapping those ones off, allowing the bishop to then sit on his pawn structure, stop his minority attack. No, he sweeps to the other side of the board, preparing to hunt down the white king. Kasparov would be proud. He loved to attack. We see bishop c5 now, hitting that rook on f8. It saves itself. Now the bishop x-rayed in response, but it hits d6. That is a bone in the throat in the black position, but it's shooting thin air right now. And I'm drawing on the board a few moves which Stockfish likes, some nudgy moves. But does Levy Rozman do that? No. He completely changes the game. What would Christian say?
Trust me, it's an absolute banger. It's a game changer.
He plays pawn to g5. Gary the g-pawn having a field day, and now the engine just wants to capture. What's the follow-up point? Well, queen g7. You're actually hitting two pawns now in combination with the knight, and stuff gets ravey. You can defend, but then the knight crashes through. Who's doing well, who's not? It's really unclear. This queen can come back and join the defense, and the rook can slide, and different game. That was the way it could have gone, but it didn't. Instead, we see queen e3 played, a little bit tentative. Levy can now capture, or g4. He doesn't do either, goes queen g7, again begging for takes so he can start doing some weird stuff, but not played. Queen g3 instead. Now we see pawn h6 because this time the queen was adding some x-ray defense, and rook f2 does some defensive work, but these pieces getting a bit tied up. Traffic jam on the king side. b5, now a great idea of the engines, getting the minority attack going, switching to the other side of the board, but knight d8 played by Levy, sticking with the same plan of attacking on the king side, and now this is a terrible move by Julio. What should he do here? Again, he should take on g5. But what he does instead is bishop to f3. All these pieces treading on each other's toes, and he's not even creating a threat that's any good because the bishop is cemento. We see rook c4 supporting, the other one preparing to double stack. Rook e1 played, knight f7 spins round, and now Julio under the cosh takes off the bishop. Terrible move. Rook takes is actually best here. If rook recaptures, which we suspect we would have seen, then this pawn takes, and black's doing great with a pair off the board. But instead we see pawn takes. Still good, not as precise, but it doesn't matter. When your opponent's playing pawn pushes like this, doesn't matter if you go with rook or pawn because this is unraveling the white position. Black now doing fantastic if Levy takes on f4 here, which he misses to do. And here's the follow-up point. If rook takes, well, okay, you just dropped your queen. If queen takes here, well, then there's this pawn h5 move, and you're shutting down all the pawn pushes for white. Black's got these amazing outpost squares. I was about to click here, but that doesn't quite work. And the king's coming to h7, rook g8, big attack on the way. Very nice stuff. But missed. Levy goes rook d8 here. He pressures this bishop on d6, yes, but now white gets to take. This is very different. Takes twice occurs. Now Levy's forced to recapture that pawn with the knight. There's a threat of knight f3, check. So the king gets out of the forking way, and now it's on Levy to show something, put the finesse on this attack. One great idea is king f7 to bring the rook to the h-file. Very powerful attack. Another, and the most swashbuckling, is pawn e3. Lovely stuff, because if queen recaptures, then not only have you cleared e4 for the knight, but first you can switch with the rook. And this, in combination with the queen and knight e4, is absolutely devastating. Amazing pawn sack. But it wasn't played. Instead, we get knight f7. Levy stumbling back, not the most precise way. It opens up the queens, but you don't have to take them off. Instead, Julio comes up with a cracker of a move, rook to e3. Why is this so good? Well, now if Levy takes the queens off, rook captures, check, and you can't run this way due to the bishop. So the king's got to step here, and the second one joins the party. You're getting laddered. The knight's going to have to intercept, but that is not what you want. You start winning pieces, all sorts. So this is the problem with queen takes here. That's why we now see Levy rotate this one round, looking to come to g4, but he should take on d6. Why? Now if queen h4, hitting the rook, threatening rook g3, you can come back, defend. Yes, you lose your queen. This is the reality of the situation now for Levy, but he lives to fight another day with this kind of line. Instead, he goes knight g4, but now queen h4, hits the unprotected rook, rook d7, rook g3, about to win the queen, so knight g4, but rook f4 is the huge problem. Simple threat to take there with a double rook thing, and then you're about to win this queen. Kebab to the king. So what do we see Levy play? He really doesn't have a move. He tries rook f7, saying, okay, you try your stuff, I'm going to check your king in between. So white sidesteps, and now queen h7, desperately tried. Get the queens off the board, but it didn't happen. We get a check. You can't block with the rook. The bishop's on the square. So the king steps up, and white crashes through, forces resignation from Levy. Heartbreak for him chasing the GM norm, especially of how good his position was. If pawn captures here, this is the point. If the king steps here, bang, that's a checkmate, or you can checkmate from here. And if you block with the queen, well, obviously this is game over. This is the kind of line that could ensue, everything dropping. This is the results on screen of the tournament overall. Julio now goes top. What a game this was. I hope you enjoyed. Smash subscribe if you did. And for another epic game of chess, check out the video on screen. Thanks very much for watching and see you soon.